Hello everyone. So you want to play Twilight Imperium. You face this grand space odyssey with space combat and warfare and politics, trade, diplomacy, assassinations, and all other types of game systems. You've also heard that it's quite a lengthy game. I've heard reports that groups of 8 have gone over 12 hours. So if you're interested in playing, you've never played it before, you probably, like me, find yourself looking around on the web for tutorials to try to get an idea of what to expect and get your bearings. And you might find, like certain game groups, 3-hour in-depth tutorial, or Tom VASEL's Dice Tower's review, where he goes over the base game and the 2 expansions. But there's nothing that really kind of gives you a good feel for the game, especially if you're not familiar with 4X style games or big box games. So this series, I'm doing a series to kind of fill in that gap and kind of take each portion of the game and kind of explain it and give you an idea of how it marries with everything else to create the experience that you're going to have. So you can get a kind of idea, so when you actually go into the game for the first time, you'll know what to expect. You can do a little bit of strategizing, and you can start connecting the dots instead of just being lost. Or worse off, if you have a rule explanation right before you play, you just feel overloaded and trying to absorb everything and sitting there like, oh, what do I do? What is this? Oh, I don't remember that. So I'm going to try to just help everybody out. So what is Twilight Imperium? Well, for starters, it is the flagship game of Fantasy Flight Games, which is one of the larger board game publishers in the industry. It coined the term big box games. As you can see, this is huge, massive. This is the 3rd edition of the game, which takes a lot of cues from Euro-style games. Christian T. Peterson is the game designer, and I think the 1st edition was published back in 1999, and that's kind of what got his company going. And the 3rd edition is the current one. It's been out for a few years. Long enough that they've had 2 expansions. This is the first one, Shattered Empire, and largely it's viewed by the community as fixing a lot of issues that the base game had. So it's generally suggested that you don't play the base game, although you can have a really fun experience with it, just the base game. It's really recommended that you don't play without the 1st expansion. The 2nd expansion, Shards of the Throne, is really for those who have played the game several times and kind of are just looking for something a little bit different. It's not necessary. I regrettably don't have it because it's out of print right now. Thankfully, though, they're going to be doing another production run in the 2nd quarter of this year, and I'll be picking it up then, because I'm not paying an individual $100 to get their questionable copy right now. With that, the story behind Twilight Imperium, and the reason it's called that is because it takes place in a galaxy that you, the players, will build together, and I'll go over that in my next video. But Twilight Imperium is about this galactic empire that's ruled by the Lazics, which is one of the races in this fiction. And a lot of unrest is going on in the galaxy, and the races start turning against the Lazics, and the empire begins to crumble. And then there's all this infighting that starts for different political reasons and interspecies reasons, and the galaxy falls into twilight, and the Lazics are basically exterminated from the galaxy. They live on in different forms through some of the other races, but on a whole, their race and society are just cleaned off the map. So with that, the entire galactic empire just falls apart, and all the species are just, their economies and fleets and society are torn asunder, and so So there's basically, it's kind of becomes a Wild West, and the game takes place when these races have regathered their strength and they're going to make a play to claim the Imperial title and become the rulers of the galaxy over the other races and bring order to the galaxy once again. There are, in total, with both expansions, 17 playable races, with an 18th that's only playable in a specific situation. With the first the base game has 10, and the expansion adds an additional 4. So it's quite a bit, and all the races are completely different. And I'll be doing a video on each of them to demonstrate what their special technologies are, their starting planets, their starting fleets, their special technologies, and so forth. So with that, let's get started on the overview.